Hello, it is a beautiful day here in Culpeper County, Virginia. It is July 20th, 2014, and if you've watched any of our videos, they've been kind of instructional. Today we thought we'd just take a tour. Now these two little patches of ground are what we call the upper gardens because they're up on the hill, and I'll show you what we got. These are strawberries. Right now they're resting because they fruit in June and late May. So the main thing now is just to keep the weeds out of them so that they can produce next year. Over there is where the lettuce is, and that's about done. That'll be fed to the chickens. And there's some blank spaces here that I've cleaned up and whatnot, and I'm keeping for our fall gardens. Fall stuff like cabbage and broccoli and lettuce and radishes and all that good stuff. Now the lower garden here, along the edge here, these are 4 o'clocks. They're real cool because they bloom all different colors, and they're open at certain times of the day and other times they're closed. But we like those because they're pretty. Now over here we have lima beans that Marcy wanted because she likes lima beans. And they're not making yet, but they will. They're coming along real nice. We're keeping the bugs off them. So they're doing real good and keeping the weeds out. Now over here we have a few roses. They're very colorful and we like those. And it's the dickens to keep the Japanese beetles off them. But as you can see from these here, that we've been kind of successful with our efforts using chemistry. And right next to them we have blueberries. And you notice the blueberries are in a cage, and it's not because they tend to wander around the yard and get into things that they shouldn't. It's that this keeps the birds out because birds like blueberries too, and if you have a white car they head directly for it for a bombing run. Now we've had a good yield off of these. They're winding down, but you can still see we have a few on the later crops. And when this is done, we will take the net off and leave them alone. They don't really require any spraying, maybe a little pruning just to get the dead wood out and any branches that are rubbing so they don't wound themselves. But they're easy crop to grow. They don't require much at all. If you can grow an azalea, you can grow these. And they're very nice in the winter because the stems get red, and up against snow is beautiful. So anyway, we'll go for a walk and I'll show you the other stuff we got going. I only work 1 day in 2 weeks, so I've had time to get it tidy for you. So anyway, we'll go look at that and we'll go back.
Those of you that live in our area, I really wish you'd come see these gardens. Sammy works diligently at it. He loves it. And I'm trying to pan around. It's just so pretty. He's done a really good job. Doodle! Doodle!
Now the next item on our tour, these are kiwis. And what I've had to do is make this clothesline structure for them, because they'll grow up it and then they'll grow all over the top of it, and I didn't want it any higher than what I can reach to easily pick. They've got a few years to go yet, but they're doing pretty good. They were a lot smaller when they arrived. Supposedly there are 2 females and 1 male, and tell you the truth, I don't know which one is which, but they're all alive, so we'll see what happens. And I've never grown these before, but what the heck, we'll give it a go. And moving right along, over here we got grapes. These are Concord grapes, Concord seedless grapes, and they got their start last year, and they're getting established. They'll do okay if you can keep the bugs off them. You see the damage from the Japanese beetles here. You see a damaged Japanese beetle here too. So
where's that little cluster of them?
They're on the next plant.
Oh.
I gave them some fertilizer. I got the weeds out of them. I got the bugs off them.
Look how cute are these.
Anyway, moving right along. And now we can go look at the blackberries. Now, as you recall, some of you might recall, we did a brief video about how to prune them earlier in the spring. And now it's time to go see what we got. Let's go over there.
I'm going to pan the blackberries. As you can see, they filled in nicely. There's Doodle following along. Then I'm going to walk down here, and Sammy is going to give us a narrative. So hopefully I won't be jiggling this thing too much. Okay.
Alright. Well, we're going to have somewhat limited crop of blackberries this year because I think the fruiting canes got set back last winter because we had a very harsh winter. Very cold, very windy. And I think that damaged some of the fruiting canes, as you see here. But we got a little bit.
Is there any on there now?
Yeah, if you look over here.
Since we picked some the other day, they were gorgeous. Oh yeah.
There's
got a
a
little
few
grass
on
on there, but
you can see where I've been mowing the grass.
oh yeah.
But yeah, they're big.
They are big.
See, they're big size, and they're very good. And the best thing about it is the plants are thornless, so you don't wind up being a pincushion. But the main thing about blackberries that can be a challenge is weed control. Because they're a perennial crop, and you don't want to damage it while taking care of the weeds. You do as much as you can get out in the dormant season when you're pruning and whatnot, but they always seem to come back. You know, the Lord loves life, and He puts it everywhere. So, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, it seems like half the time I spend trying to get stuff to grow, the other half of the time I spend trying to kill plants. But that's part of life. Anyway, you can look around here a little bit, and we'll see some more. They're just starting now. You know, it's getting towards the end of July. In August they come in pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be down here picking these probably every other day, at least every third day. Because the birds like these too, but not as much as they like the blueberries. Anyway, we'll move along now, and we'll look at the other parts of the garden. Now, it has been unusually wet, almost too wet this year, but it's been good for some crops. Now, as you can see, the corn has done real well. This type of corn is called Bloody Butcher. It's a red corn. It gets almost black in some of them. It's old, open-pollinated style corn. You can eat it like sweet corn or can it when it's real young. Otherwise, you let it go and use it for feed, or you can make cornmeal out of it. We can do that too. Now, moving right along here, this is winter squash. The far row here is what they call kashaws, or as some of the older, more rural people around here say, kashaw. And they use it like a pumpkin. They make pie out of it, they make pudding, they make good things. You can look it up in your seed catalog to see what it looks like. It looks like a big winter squash, but it's green and white stripes. This row here is blue Hubbard squash. Looks like a big gray bag. Kind of weird looking, but it's good to eat. These two rows are butternut squash.
Doodle has to get in every picture.
I know he does. And this last row is acorn squash. I know somebody's saying, Sam, isn't it a little late? And I said, no. For one thing, I had a delay of planting, and then you notice that some of the plants are bigger than the others. That's because the crows got in here, and I'd never had a problem with them eating squash before, but this year I did. So I replanted, and you know, we got till October. What's that, 10 weeks? We got time, Lord willing, and you know, whatever. If it makes, it makes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Nothing I can do about that except, you know, foster it along, fertilize it, weed it, keep the bugs off it, and, you know, see what the Lord has in mind. All right, we'll ease on down the road a little bit and show you some more stuff.
I wanted to take a shot of these gardens because, gosh, they're so pretty. Try to get closer. Everything is so lush and green. There's going to be a lot of food coming out of here soon that we're going to share.
Coming up the hill from the winter squash is Marcy's sweet corn.
Yay!
Marcy has been on my tuchus about growing sweet corn because she likes it, and everybody likes it. Now here locally, the #1 variety is Silver Queen, which is what this is. It's a white corn. It takes, I don't know, maybe 80 days, 78 days to go from a seed to something you want to eat. But this is doing real good. I've tried this in a different way, growing 2 rows, then 2 rows, and I put fertilizer in between. Any weeds you see in here and any of these patches are dead weeds growing. They've been sprayed with that miracle of modern science called glyphosate, known generically as Roundup or something. Anyway, this is doing real good. We could use a little rain on this, which is coming tomorrow, if not tonight. But it's doing good. Marcy's going to be so happy.
I am.
That's right. She's going to have corn. Now, moving on down.
The good husband plants corn for his wife.
That's right. The good husband has a patch of tobacco, too.
A gorgeous patch of tobacco.
Now, I have never grown tobacco before.
I have to back up for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the seeds are incredibly tiny. They're almost microscopic. But in a few months' time, they grow into enormous things.
And it smells wonderful.
The growth potential here.
I gotta delete that out.
Or
maybe not.
Anyway, the growth potential in this is phenomenal. Now, what I've done with this is I've topped them, like it said, cut the top out, and then you pinch out all the little suckers that grow. See, there's one right there. Because you want all the goodies to stay within the leaf, because that makes quality of flavor.
Pull one off and show me what it is, because I can't see from this angle. People can't see.
See?
No.
It's what?
There we go.
It grows right here.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like if you pinch a plant and it starts bushing out, that's the same thing. See, here's one here. This is a perfect example.
Okay, I see it.
This is called suckers. You don't want them to grow. You just pinch them out, and it's sticky, and it's nasty. And I think sometimes nicotine is absorbed for your skin because when I'm about halfway through, I start getting woozy. But it's fun. And anyway, this was just kind of my pet project. Every year I have a pet. Last year it was cotton. This year it's tobacco. And Lord help us find a place for this.
I know.
To cure it.
And then what?
And then what? I don't know.
Well, there's a ton of it,
but
as
anyway,
you can see.
Probably in the world to come, this will be more valuable than gold.
True.
So, I don't know. It smells good in here, and it's cool, and nobody else around here has it. So, I don't know. I just do things. Anyway, we'll move along and show you some other stuff that you might be more familiar with. Alright, now we're moving on to other things. And what we have here, this is a first planting of summer squash. There's yellow squash, there's zucchini, and there's some squash from seed that I've saved. Now, saving seed from squash is kind of a fun thing because squash is promiscuous. They breed with all the other squash around them. So when you save the seed and you grow it, you're going to get some weird things. You know, it'll breed with the winter squash if it was flowering, so you get combinations. You'll get some that look like zucchini but are yellow and have green tips, and some that are fat and just they look almost like exotic gourds, but they're good to eat and they're fun. So if you want to save seed from squash, grow only one kind. That way it'll stay true and won't intermix and have weird little kids. And that's what this is here. This is okra. Okra can be a very polarizing thing. People either love it or they hate it. But it goes all the way to the end. And it'll be getting ripe soon. I'm seeing flower buds on it. See, there's the flower buds.
Their flowers are really pretty on okra.
Yeah, they're pretty. They're related to the hibiscus. They're in the Malvaceae family. This is one that has pollinated. This is a little okra pod. And he'll be ready to pick in probably a day or two. And these are the flower buds. Okra is an obnoxious plant to work around. If you've ever had any experience working in insulation, you know that's so. So what you got to do is you got to get some of those brown little jersey gloves that are 99 cents or whatever. Buy a 6-pack of them, and you put those on. And some people like long sleeve shirts. I just can't get into that in the summer. But and you just snap them off. And at the base of the pod, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little spines. And if you plant them, and if you grow them and pick them without gloves, you will have bloody fingers.
That's good
eventually.
To know.
So wear the little gloves, and you just snap them off, which we'll have a video of that, I'm sure, because this stuff gets huge. Next to this, we have more pests. These are sunflowers. I'd saved the seed from other sunflowers, and I just put them all in here, and I plant them with the planter. And when these things bloom, it puts on quite a show. It's really pretty. I just grow them because it's neat and it's fun. Here, we have black-eyed peas. See if you can go down the aisle.
I did.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
Black-eyed peas are very aggressive. They love to grow. So you can see the little pea pods here. They'll get about this long. And Marcy and I spend hours and hours showing them. And it makes Hoppin' John and stuff. The fun part about this is you don't have to spend a lot for it. You go to Food Line or Piggly Wiggly or wherever it is you shop, and you buy a dried bag of the dried black-eyed peas, and you put them in the planter, and you plant them. I've had to prune them away from the tomatoes here because they will grow up in there. They will take over. They're very aggressive. But they're good for building soil because they're a legume. Can you say that?
Legume.
I like the way you said that. Anyway. But I just do it for fun. I mean, the investment is minimal. And, you know, if you miss some, they just dry out. And then you use them for dry beans, just like what you bought to plant. All right, we'll move. Okay, now, some of you might have seen our tomato planting video, and the one where we string the tomatoes. We're getting some results now. Now, as you can see, we got a bunch of tomatoes. See? Look under here. See?
Oh, nice.
They're green right now, but that's going to change soon. You're saying, Sam, what is all that white powder under there? Well, we had a lot of rain, and that kind of diluted the lime that I had put in there, and I was seeing some signs of blossom end rot, which is a calcium deficiency. So I got some lime, and I put it here, and it'll work its way in and hopefully correct some of that deficiency problem. But anyway, let's walk along and see some of this stuff. We got 48 tomato plants, and that's a lot of tomatoes. But it's fun. See, look, they're very productive.
Oh, I can't wait.
And see how they are with when you do them this method, they're not that difficult to pick.
No.
You can have easy access. This is good for the health of the plant too, because you allow air and light to circulate freely throughout it and keep them on the dry side so that they don't rot and have funguses and things like that. And you notice I've been very judicious about going and keeping leaves from touching the ground.
That's right.
And we haven't had any problem with bugs. Usually we have a few problems with hornworms, which are big things like this that are like a little hay baler. They eat and poop at the same time. And they turn a tomato plant into little nasty little packages, and they can eat a lot. Now this right here is blossom end rot. See, this is the stem end, this is the end where the blossom was. This is a calcium deficiency I was seeing. So I believe I've corrected that. We'd like to get a nice good rain to work that stuff in there a little bit and maybe move things along. I don't see any on the newer ones. And when I see the ones like this, I get them off the plant. There's no use of plant producing this because the fruit's not going to be any good. You might as well get them off and let the plant use its energy producing something a little more worthwhile. But we got lots of different kinds. We got these kind, which are real neat. These are called opalka. They get big. Some of them will get like this big and about that big around.
Here where they can see you. And how big will they get?
They'll get about maybe this big and about that big around.
Oh wow!
And they're very meaty. They're kind of they're a Russian kind of variety, used for canning and paste and sauce and things like that. But anyway, he said, Sam, enough with the tomatoes. How many you got?
A lot.
I told you how many we got. We got 48. Look, this one can come off.
Oh, it's got a little blush to it. Maybe we can...
But like I say, we've been having a lot of problems with wet.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain.
But you'll have that some years. But if you grow your tomatoes this way, you'll have fewer problems. There's always adversity. Always. Is it still going? Now, as you can see, you see how we put our strings like this, and that's supporting the plant. I got room to put maybe one more string, and then I run out of posts. And you say, Sam, what do you do then? Well, then they just go over like a pot of water boiling over, and they still keep going. You know, I try to keep out some of the interior leaves to allow the air circulation, but they'll do all right. We'll get plenty of tomatoes out of here for us and half the known world. So we're happy with that. But they're going to be coming along here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And 2 weeks from now, we'll probably be down here with buckets and everything and a trailer.
Yeah, the trailer.
The trailer on the lawn tractor schlepping them out of here. Now let's move over to the peppers. These are our pepper plants. There's various kinds. There's bell peppers, as you see. And I got Y's this year. Usually I'd have to put a stake for every plant and tie it to them. This year I did it like the tomatoes, but instead of just 2 plants, I did 4, and they crossed between the 2. And I just went and cut some bamboo and pounded them in the ground, because peppers don't get real tall. I mean, they'll get 3 feet, maybe a little more. But there's bell peppers. And the bell peppers are going to be coming in yellows, greens, and purple. And then there's these are cayenne peppers. They're starting to make a little bit.
Oh yeah.
They're hot, and these are purple cayennes. They're pretty. And we got a few jalapenos, not too many, because they're productive plants. Now these ones here,
oh, those are pretty. Ooh, those are pretty.
Are Hungarian peppers.
Are they spicy?
Yeah, they're about half as hot as a jalapeno, but they're good to eat. They're good to nibble on when you don't want quite the heat of a jalapeno, but you want a little heat.
Maybe I could put those in my pickles.
You could. They make good pickles. And we have some jalapenos here.
Those I recognize.
Yeah, this variety gets pretty big. I forgot what kind it is, but the peppers get real big. And then assorted bell peppers. And we got some, let me see if I can find them. After a while, they all look alike. We got cherry peppers.
Oh, yeah.
And these are sweet cherry peppers. They're those kind you get on the side at the salad bar. They're not hot. They're sweet, and they're real good when you let them mature. and turn red and pickle them,
Mm-hmm.
just to pick up and nibble on when you're having your hamburger and things. Now let's go look at cucumbers. Now we'll look at cucumbers. This cucumber variety is an open pollinated variety. I always try to grow open pollinated so I can save the seeds. The variety here is called Poinsett 76. And really, if you're trying to grow cucumbers without a structure for them to grow on, it's just more trouble than it's worth, because they tend to love, when they're in the growing mode, they take off. And there's some little cucumbers in here somewhere.
I know, we saw them.
We spotted one the other day. It's some.
Won't be long. Wait, where is it? I can't.
Right here.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
So in the next week or two, I think the cucumbers and tomatoes are going to come in pretty close to the same time, which is very exciting, because that makes a nice little plate to slice them up and put them have with your dinner. And you'd be burping and everything else. But we grow a lot of them. Now, along here, see, you can see some more that are moving right along.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Mm-hmm.
In Espanol, pepino. But they're doing real good. And we got another planting here. One thing I found, if you want a consistent, steady harvest till frost, you with cucumbers and summer squash, you plant when the first planting starts to flower. When you start seeing a few flowers, plant your second planting, because they tend to poop out. I mean, their metabolism is such, they just wear themselves out, and by that time some bug or fungus or something has got them anyway. But then you have a backup coming in, and that's what these little fellows are here. Except for this. This is a morning glory. Why people buy this stuff, I don't know. But
because it overtakes everything.
It does, and the Lord implanted in the seeds a time bomb, so they don't all germinate at once. They'll germinate weeks apart. So just when you think you got them, you come back, and then there's more. And we have more Bloody Butcher corn here.
That is so tall. I don't even know how tall that is.
It's just fun to grow.
Doodle likes to go in there and run around.
Doodle does like to go in there and run around. I don't know what he finds, but he does. But anyway, we'll go to the front of this garden over here, and we'll give you a kind of a panoramic kind of view. Good. Okay, so it's high summer, and this is my favorite time of year. Stuff is really happening now, and we thought we'd take you on a tour, and you can see how things are laid out. It's a beauty of using strips like this, is you got to rotate your crops, because you don't want insects and diseases pertaining to one crop building up over time. And this makes it kind of easy. Plus, you can get vehicles in here closer to your stuff when it's time to harvest or do anything. I could get my truck in between these, but I usually use a little trailer on a lawn tractor. You can see our tomatoes, black-eyed peas, sunflowers, okra, and this right here is the next planting of summer squash.
Okay.
And you can see it up there in the distance, those big leafy things. Yeah, that's producing now. It's just starting, but when it kicks in, yeah, people will be getting a lot of it at church. And you can see the winter squash and Marcy's corn and the tobacco and the Bloody Butcher. And over there where all those weeds are, that's asparagus. As you can see, I did not do very good in weed control in there, and it's a little bit embarrassing. So we'll move on to something else rather than talk about that. But we'll get back and let you see how things are coming along. And when we start getting a lot of stuff off of here, I'm sure we'll have videos of filling up buckets of tomatoes and okra and squash and things, and then we'll probably have Marcy's activities in the kitchen processing all of this stuff, because she went through and got all her jars and everything else in order. so she's about ready to go on that.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And we'll keep y'all filled in on that, and it's kind of fun. It's amazing what one person can do with the aid of a few machines and about a half a dozen chemicals. Anyway, think nice thoughts, and remember, God bless us, everyone, as said by Tiny Tim, who did not die.